Hello, you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm Gav, and today I was joined by Dave and Stephen. On today's show, we look back at the Aberdeen game. We discuss the signing of Jamie Murphy and, of course, the departure of Daryl Horgan. We also finish up with a game of start, bench, sell, which we'll describe a bit more later on. But we started with the news around the ongoing situation with Alex Gogic. We may as well sort of start with the Gogic thing then. Initial thoughts on Gogic having to miss out because he never tested positive to coronavirus.
Fuck me. I could go from one here.
Go off on a wee bit. No, just time it a bit.
I just think, do you know like Aberdeen are just the spawniest folk that have ever existed? Because the Aberdeen 8, as they're getting branded, it's like a shit superhero set. They're never getting any bother at all, in the sense that there's no punishment to them in a footballing sense. Of course, they had to miss a couple of weeks, but Aberdeen have had every player available for selection, and they at the end of the day broke the rules that so many people going out in one evening and all that. But so all of that's been done to the death, right? So Hibs followed by procedure, got the test done, cancelled the training session.
Which they had to do off their own back as well.
Yeah, exactly.
They were waiting. Jack Ross was very annoyed yesterday, speaking about how long it took to get an answer, and eventually they had to make the decision themselves because they had to wait that long.
Yeah, because guess what we're doing? We're putting everybody's safety in that first, which I don't doubt is the right thing to do. So when you get the results back saying no, he is negative, you retest again. No, you're definitely negative. So 2 negative results.
Everyone is family negative as well.
Everybody's tested negative in his household, and he's still told he can't play, and he needs to isolate for 10 days. So all of a sudden, because we've followed the procedures and all the rules and that, we've got a player that can't play a game. So we're getting penalised by fucking stupid rules. And then ironically, you're playing against Aberdeen, who've had a one night the players been too naive, and then they've got everybody available. There's a bit of a sense of injustice there.
And it goes beyond the team as well, because it's now cost him his first caps for Cyprus as well, which is horrendous. I think he's done the right thing coming out and tagging them in it to show what a shambles it's been.
He's not got the virus.
Exactly. That's the thing.
What's the problem? You said that Jack Ross had said that this doesn't happen in other work places. Like if you test negative, you go back to work.
In my work, if you get a test result back negative 10 in the morning, you're back in work for 11. You don't get any time off.
But that's sensible because you don't have the virus.
Yeah.
So why is he resting or to isolate for 10 days when there's nothing wrong with him?
So speaking of Gogic, obviously he missed out. Big opportunity for Hallberg. How do you feel he done, Stephen?
Average. Never stepped up enough. Reminiscent of Slivka. Good player in him, but when he gets a shot, never really took it, I don't think. And it could have been round as an overall team performance, because none of them really performed well. But yeah, I think just let the chance get away from him a wee bit.
It's one of those things where we've looked quite solid in the middle. I mean, Aberdeen had a couple of chances yesterday, but nothing. There's one or two which we'll get into, but overall the midfield's been quite solid, and even without Gogic, we were still quite solid defensively. It's just nothing going forward.
Yeah, pretty much. I thought Aberdeen controlled the game, but in previous matches Motherwell's controlled the game. We've not really enforced anything this season apart from the Livingston game, you would say, and the first half an hour of the Kilmarnock game.
And the Livingston game, it was out wide. Boyle and Horgan was where the danger was, so it's kind of been a bit. Obviously, a few weeks ago, speaking about McCrorie, is he coming to Hibs? What would we be getting with him and stuff? What have Aberdeen got from what you've seen yesterday? What have Aberdeen got in McCrorie?
A good player. He got man of the match, didn't he? So
complete opposite of everything that they've got from every other player that they took away from us. You look at Joe McGeoch and all that, none of them have really performed for Aberdeen, but McCrorie's come in and basically they've got exactly what they wanted from him.
I think McInnes referred to him as a Rolls Royce of a player.
Well, he was comfy on the ball. He was
pushed forward.
He was pushing forward. Ragdolled Joe Newell and Hallberg a couple of times, and he just looked like he was getting stuck in. It just everything that we need in our midfield is in that one player, and I don't even want to talk about it anymore because we've went into about it enough. Like, spoke about it for weeks now as Hibs fans. It's just infuriating. Should have made time a Hibs player, but we didn't.
Yeah. And like I say, I think I remember one instant sort of around about the 40th minute where Newell was just completely muscled off the ball by McCrorie. He then held it off and played it off to another player, and then Aberdeen had an attack off the back of that. It's kind of just little things like Newell was on the ball and then they've got an attack. It's kind of dispossessed a bit easy.
He was in our faces. He was
the thing is though, as well, like, see when you look at him on a football pitch, he's not that big a player. Like he's not built, he's not like as tall as a lot of the players and that. Like he just gets on with his job. Like it's exactly what we needed. So, and I mean I wasn't the biggest advocate of him coming to us anyway, but like I do miss him. I really wish that we took the chance.
There's a player there, like
definitely, definitely future Scotland internationals and everything. So but getting back on with the game, first sort of proper chance I've kind of got here was the one. Or in terms of Aberdeen anyway, was Rocky made a great save around about the 17th minute, but this defending we've not seen this season. They got through quite easy. Hedges and it's another player playing a lot of 1-2s, and I think if Hedges had a right foot, that's in the back of the net.
It all started off with a wee bit of luck with the break of the ball for Aberdeen, because Hanlon does a good tackle and then the ball kind of rickies back to Aberdeen, and then all of a sudden Hanlon's out of position, which then let them do 1-2s run about us. But it was a good save by Rocky. To be honest with you, the boy probably should have scored. The way he hit it was a kind of weird shot, but he's a good player, him, that Hedges.
And I know hindsight, like I say, sort of, you know, now that the game's over, the performance wasn't great. But Stephen, how were you feeling before the game when you seen it was a 3-5-2?
It's
come
one
on, you're a big advert. Come on, I'm trying to help you be positive about something.
It's one of the things, though. Like I never really feel positive against Aberdeen. I think they're just like one of the bogey teams that we never really seem to get a result against. And yesterday was pretty much what I would expect from a Hibs Aberdeen game. Pretty flat for the majority of it. It wasn't much happening. They got a lucky goal, stupid penalty to give away, but never really had much going for it as a game.
And when you seen that lineup, did you expect Ball to be starting up top?
Yeah, I would have said so. Yeah, there wasn't really much else. I wouldn't have expected Dre Wright to be up there anyway. But
do you think
that's why it is.
Just because his pace, do you think Boyle at the right wing back position would get
Well,
us up
but Dre Wright's a slow coach.
No, just I mean, like say Boyle's really fast, like to get us up the pitch faster.
No, I would have expected Boyle to start up top. He's played there for Hibs numerous times, so why would you not play him there and then play Dre Wright out wide, which where he normally plays?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, fair play to Dre Wright that he's kind of been asked to play out of position. He's done it. He then played central attacking midfield and then played left wing back, so 3 positions in a match. Maybe not the most outstanding performance, but in terms of your attitude, just right, okay, I'll play there, head down, get on with it and try and make the best of it.
Yeah, and it feels like it's going to happen quite a lot. People changing formations throughout the game, because
we kind of sign players for each position, so we've kind of got to get the versatility of it instead. So quickly, I was speaking to Jack Ross yesterday, so here's Jack Ross's thoughts on Dre Wright playing 3 positions throughout the game.
Lastly on Dre Wright, his attitude after playing 3 different positions today and showing that versatility that he's got.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideally what you want to do with a player during the game, but well, first of all, we obviously got a challenge because Kevin being injured, so we have to find a way. And Dre's played there and actually thought he was good, did really well. Asked him to play slightly deeper after that, and then his wing back role, he's comfortable doing, and that was to really accommodate us having Jamie on the pitch, Stevie Mallon on the pitch, Jamie Murphy on the pitch, so we had to shuffle things around. But he's maybe under the radar a little bit because obviously had the slight injury after the Kilmarnock game. But in terms of signings bringing to the club alongside Alex and Kevin in that first instance, I've been really pleased with him.
So back to the game, best chance of the first half probably Doidge's one where he kind of controls it in the box, has a lot more time than I think he realises, and Dave should have done better.
Yes, without a doubt. He just panicked and just swung a leg at it. He looked off balance as well, and I think that is just because he did panic and no realise he probably had loads of time. He was in a good position, exactly where you would want him to be. I think his touch maybe takes it, he stops it dead and then it's kind of behind him, which probably why he is off balance, but he should have 100% hit the target.
there was a few times we kind of got into the final third. I can think of Scott Allen, and it resulted in a corner. Doig, who kind of picked up the ball.
Wait, no, I've got one. First minute, or first 2 minutes. What was Martin Boyle then when he just decides? What was that? That was an absolute mind fart. I think he just tried to cross it to Doidge, but it was never on. Chip the keeper. The ball's dropped to the edge of the box. The keeper is standing like in no man's land, 12 yards out. Just hit it. A wee dink, that's in. He's not saving it. What does he try and do?
So yeah, there was that one, and like I said, there was Doig whipped the ball across the goal and right. Stephen, what was your thoughts on Hibs' composure yesterday?
Just seemed a bit erratic. Like I would say that probably Doig's shot for about 20 yards was probably the most accurate that we had the whole game. Like, I mean, I would probably say most other keepers wouldn't have saved that, and I don't think that Joe Lewis is given enough credit as a keeper in Aberdeen. So, I just think the composure was away from us. But the thing is as well, like Aberdeen came off a 6-0 win midweek. Like, it's one of the games that you obviously come back with confidence, but you've also played like 90 minutes in Europa League, so I just think it was, we could have done a lot better all over the park.
You could take that 90 minutes as an isolated, even if you want to hinker about where we are in the league, and if anybody comes in and watching Hibs for the first time yesterday looks at that and would be like, there's not enough quality in that team, because everyone, when it came down to the bits where a smart decision opens something up or changes something or a chance to create something, that it just wasn't there. The wrong decision was made, or it was a poor execution. It all came down to quality.
Maybe it's just a curse of Sky Sports, like, because every single game that's been shown on Sky Sports has been absolute humpty. Like, there's been nothing going for any of the games.
So I say, sort of looking back at, I was going to just later on, but we'll do it now. Looking back at the 4 games, do you think being on Sky affects the players at all?
Shouldn't. It's just like any other training session, basically, like, because that's how games appear to me with an empty stadium. It's just basically like a kickabout at a park.
Would it not make you better or try harder? Like, why is
more pressure to impress agents in your ear telling you, right, this is the cameras are on? But surely after
I would say
play the game of your life.
Halberg, Allen, in that game in particular in the middle of the park, were hiding more than they were trying to impress. For me, they never done enough wrong on the ball for me to go, at least he's trying something. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know, I seen more positive signs than I have done in recent games from Scott Allen. It didn't come off for him, but I seen a better attitude, him more looking for the ball more, and to me I think he feels more comfortable in a 3-5-2. I don't know why that.
Yeah, it does, but I think he needs a better midfielders around about him.
And what about the argument that it's difficult playing in front of no fans?
Who cares? Everybody's doing it. We're used to it now. I just think it's 11v11 in a football park. Couldn't beat them. The other team to do it as well.
Is that an excuse, Stephen, for it being flat?
I wouldn't say so. I think obviously when the football started coming back and there wasn't any fans at the stadium, you saw like a wee drop in quality in like the Premiership and that, like Premier League as well. Like, but again, like 6 games into the season, you should be used to it now. Like Dave says, I mean, you just go and play football. It's like playing in front of 20,000. Like, you look at Hamilton and Livy and that, like, they play in front of 200 each week. So, and as well, the reason that I won't accept say for example, if I don't know if anybody's come out and said that it's flat, we're playing quite flat or we're playing quite boring football because there's empty stands or empty stadiums and that. I won't accept that because I've bought a season ticket. What a cardboard cutout. There's like how many folks sitting at home watching in the house. Hibs TV. The support's still there. They were still putting everything into it. So to be fair, I was waiting on my cardboard cutout to walk out the stadium yesterday. Like,
mine's just eyes are shut. But I'm still expecting that the same level of intensity as if I was sitting there. I'm not accepting anything else.
To be fair though, do we actually get any level of intensity when we're sitting in the stadium? Cause
it was alright. Well, you see the stats you rattled out. The stats were third behind. Well, we're the only team behind Old Firm or something that's got the most points or some shit. I've said that wrong, but
since Ross came in,
aye. So
I think Hibs tweeted about that as well.
Yeah,
it just doesn't say. since the start of this season, it doesn't reflect what we were doing at the end of last season. Like the games are a lot more flat. They don't have the, like, when we were going through the motions and we were down or whatever, we were changing formation and we were pushing forward with it. This season, it just seems as though
But we're doing that the first 3 games. I mean, like the Kilmarnock game, we played 4 different formations.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. When we're doing it, it's not changing anything in terms of like us going forward anymore. And when we're getting the leads, we're sitting on them again. It is going back. Obviously, you were mentioning about the Twitter comments and that. Like, we're going back to Hecky style. It's like you sit on a lead, and it's not what anybody wants to see.
But we've not been sitting in leads the last few games because it's been 0-0, a goal in the last minute, and then we've been 1-0 down. So, I guess talking about sitting in leads, though, we were playing against the Kings of that yesterday.
Yeah, and
you've got to speak to me. You can't just nod at me. It's a podcast.
One of the worst teams to go 1-0 down against.
100%. And the thing is, though, like, we've still not conceded for open play this season.
Listen to him being all positive. I'm proud of you.
We could have a couple of times yesterday that would be fair because we played at home against a team who we want to be competing against in a position, and they still had created more chances. Their efforts and goal, efforts and target were double ours.
Yeah, there was just a lot of wayward passing and a lot of the ball going out of play in that yesterday.
Did you feel like we were going to score, Gav?
No.
Say,
even like say at the game that watching it, like say it seemed quite panicky, especially the last 15 minutes. And obviously you're chasing the lead and stuff, but it's just Aberdeen are such a hard team to break down at the best of times. And then when you're 1-0 down, you could see like Newell was coming deeper looking for the ball, especially from the start of the second half. Mallon, when he went to deeper position, was coming deeper looking for the ball, passing it to centre backs and full backs. That'll get us.
I'll tell you, like, see, the highlight for me yesterday was the fact that Doidge chased McCrorie all the way up the park to our own like corner flag to get the ball back.
Yeah,
like that was probably the highlight of like our performance yesterday, was the fact that Doidge tracked that far back.
And I understand you've got to try something different, but they started lumping long balls up towards Doidge to try and knock it on to Gullen, and McKenna was just having a field day. There was like 2 or 3 where he just like boom, headed that way. That Doidge is tall, but it's McKenna. You're playing to McKenna's strength there.
A couple of times we've done that floaty crossfield passes that are just hanging in the air for an eternity, so they're easy to intercept, and you're just getting possession away.
Driven passes as well, or doing absolutely nothing right, putting it across the 6-yard box with absolutely nobody within like 12 yards.
And that's what I was saying about the composure early on. Like, just take a moment, get your head up, look. There's people like Doidge was at the edge of the box and stuff. Just play it back rather than just whipping it across and hit it and hope.
The one in the first half, the first one he done when he was running down the right, and he whipped it across. Doidge should have been there.
Mm-hmm.
That was, to me, a position that your centre forward should be. That one was quality written all at it. The rest of them obviously weren't.
They were meant to be training on Saturday. They weren't because of this whole shenanigans. Is that going to play a part in it?
It would have helped Murphy, because you're saying Murphy didn't train.
Yeah, Murphy didn't train with the team.
So that was the first time him playing football with Hibs, is him coming on the park when we're getting beat 1-0.
Yeah.
It's like when you draft in some random game of fives, make up the numbers.
Yeah, that's happened a couple of times. That's murdered that, by the way. I get that reference. Like, somebody gets injured or something halfway through, or you've only got 9, and then the game next to you is finishing, and you just shout to them when they're walking to their cars. Any of you boys want to come on and finish this half hour? And they come on, aye, no worries. They run in. What's your name? Doesn't matter, because we're not going to remember your name, or we'll remember theirs, but they won't remember ours. Yeah. Aye, class. It's always a nightmare.
Aye.
They never come on and have a blinder. They either try too hard, or they're kind of like missing in that.
Or do they have a blinder but they're knowing your team?
Possibly. I'm quite easy to play against, I'm not gonna lie. Put on the timber.
So I mean, we might as well talk about the penalties. One of the things we've not covered yet. I did have talking points, but there wasn't really much from the game. I mean, so looking at see when it first happened, Boyle got the ball and he kind of done a fake and cut back. I kind of done a wee silent clap. I was he's done quite well there. He's got himself some space, and then he kept it. And then he just sort of, was facing the wrong way, and then tried to clear it, and obviously kicked the Aberdeen. So I mean, was that a penalty?
Yeah,
it was 100% a penalty, but the danger was already clear. Like, it was all he needed to do was just play a simple pass out the box. and then he went and like turned around and tried to like punt it up like to Lewis. It
was a bit of a confusing decision because he goes to punt it and looks up and then obviously thinks to himself, right, there's nobody there, so he turns, gets himself space like you say, and then he looks up, there's still nobody there because it all happened in the space of 2 seconds, and then he goes to punt it anyway. So I'm like, what did you punt it the first time for? Clear your lines.
Yep.
It was rather than mucking about with the ball outside your 18-yard box. So, aye.
He never saw the boy. Like, he never saw the boy, to be fair, because you could see when he had actually swung his foot that...
But you were there. Did they have a shout? Did you hear a shout? Or?
No, there might be, but I didn't hear it, no.
No.
Do you think the Aberdeen players being clever, running in?
He's taken one for the team, 100%.
He knows what Boyle's doing, and he's going in to win that foul. He knows he's not getting the ball.
Just needs to nick it at the right time.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he done. Just touched the ball away from him.
And Boyle straight away, he's like, oh no, I knew what he'd done. No arguing with that. Like, he was laughing with the refs and that when he was coming out at half time. He showed you on Sky. Cause I remember thinking to myself, it was fucking funny about it. Like,
yeah.
But oh well.
So, I think there's been some sort of similarities, sort of said, between Ross and McInnes, and so like I say, looking at the obviously McInnes has been there a long time, which I would love Ross to be there for about 8 years, but the start to the season hasn't been the best football. But obviously we've been winning apart from yesterday. McInnes' football's never entertaining. So looking at Aberdeen and the model they've got, the fact that they usually finish third, if not fourth, occasionally second when Rangers were out the league. Although Motherwell kind of pipped them to that as well. Would you rather see us do that consistently, third, fourth, but horrendous football, but scraping out results, or do you want to be entertained?
See, from the AGM, right, the message I got was that they're making Easter Road like fan based. They're going to bring in all the like the bells and whistles around the stadium and all the rest of it.
Is that to distract us from the?
But that's what I'm starting to think, is that they're looking at the first team and they're saying that that's a result based squad. Like, it's not about flair play anymore. I think that they're looking for finishing in Europe each year, whether it's scraping dirty results or. And I mean, I'm quite partial to that. Like, I'd take a 1-0 scrappy win every now and then, but I still want to see the type of football that we're used to, and I think that's starting to change for me.
Yeah, it's one of them. See, if you play bad, you better win. If that's the way we're going to play every week, then we better finish third, because otherwise, fans are not going to put up with that. That last 4 games have been absolutely diabolical, and I'm disappointed that we are now not joint top. So if we'd nicked that yesterday, I'd still be like buzzing, and that would still be part of me. We're not playing well, but we're top. This is quite good. So I can get why people are saying if that's how it goes, then you would take it. Because of course you would take it, but I'm just saying, if you play shite, you better win.
To be fair to Hibs though, and Jack Ross, like say, especially yesterday, didn't have Gogic. In the last few games we've not had Nisbet.
What would Gogic have done for creating stuff yesterday?
I give you that, but like I say, we've not had Nisbet as well the last few games. Is there an argument that the signings have been effective if already 2 of them are out and we're missing 2 of our key players?
It's probably the best we've recruited.
On paper, I would say that we've done really well.
Because I even think, obviously we're going to come back to it, but I even think the players that we're getting, like, kind of not ready, but like our players that are not good enough, or like players in the fringe, and we're kind of been like, right, see you later, like, it's time for you to move on, we're going to bring in quality. And that's, I honestly think this is the best one that we've had in a wee while for that. But I still think we're still a couple short.
Definitely a couple
but
short.
Are we a couple short because of the current situation? Like,
possibly, and which is understandable if that is the case.
You know,
and I don't mind getting rid of a few more and bringing only in a couple if it is quality. I'm alright with having.
We spoke about Fraser Murray like 3 weeks ago, potentially going to Dunfermline. Is it maybe he's still here because we can't get anybody in to replace him? We need another body in, and we can't because it's difficult to get anybody in at the moment.
Well, you were saying about like bringing in Murphy to get rid of Horgan. Like, I think that we've still got enough players like out of contract. Malumbu, like he's on the verge of going to Kilmarnock again. So
Is he already
signed?
played?
Oh, did he play?
Did he play?
Yeah.
He was on the bench.
Oh, right, okay.
Definitely on the bench.
But like, I mean, there's players of that quality that are still kicking about with like unattached to clubs that we could probably bring in, and I don't think they'd be like expecting massive wages now.
I've not paid enough attention to who's available in that, because I just always just accept that Hibs are probably going to sign somebody that I don't really know that well, and I'm going to need to look up on Wikipedia and then argue with my mates that no, that's a good return, that 4 goals and 50, and then wait and see if he's good. That's what we today as a Hibs fan, didn't you?
So I mean, like I say, looking at returns, then can lead us quite nicely into our new signing who we've briefly touched on, Jamie Murphy. 7 goals in 10 games for Burton before the global bastard kind of stopped the games. So he was really doing well there. So obviously I don't think we've seen the best of him yesterday because, like we say, he hasn't trained with the team yet. So hopefully the international break is a good opportunity for him to get some game time and some training time under the belt with the and get to know the lads. But overall, thoughts on Murphy coming in?
Happy with it. Experienced, all that. He knows the league and all that rubbish. And I honestly don't think 31's old. I'm 31. I just turned 31 last week. You just seen me out at City Hill last week. I was tearing it up. Just saying. Doesn't matter that I was 31.
He's a good squad player, but like, do we see him as a regular starter?
Don't know yet. I'm intrigued by the 7 goals in 10 games. So especially if he's doing that from out wide.
So who's he got to come in for?
Horgan.
He plays on the left.
But we've got Doig playing there. But we won't be playing 3-5-2 if
what's
if
Wright
not.
done in the last
No,
few games?
but I'm saying that's where he was recruited. It was like he was recruited to play on either wing to cover Horgan or Boyle.
But then he can play up top as well.
He can't play up top.
Who?
Right.
Jamie Murphy.
Right. Okay. So that shortens Gullen again. Like puts him back down to pecking order.
We need another striker anyway. Like even way Murphy and Gullen sitting there, we're still a striker shot.
How long's Nisbet out for?
He'll be back for the St Mirren game.
Right. Okay. So fingers crossed.
But listen to Gav's Jack Ross clip.
I'll tell you what. We're talking about strikers. I'll put it in there now, and I'll let him tell you that Nisbet's going to be back.
You're a bellend.
Is sort of forward still someone you'd like to get in for a bit of competition up top?
I think for the moment with nothing imminent, simply we've had to do a little bit of shuffling all the time. So Jamie coming in is because Darryl's most likely to move on, and that's something that's probably been on the horizon for a couple of weeks now. So we had to be prepared for that. It's not often you get the two going at the same time, and so but that was likely to happen. So that's kind of not like for like, but one in one out type thing. So so there's nothing imminent in that regard. That it probably just highlighted the fact because Kevin's been out injured, we've been a little bit short of natural strikers at the club, but Kevin will be back for the Simon game, and that'll help us.
So yeah, Murphy in. I think, like say, the thing about Murphy which I kind of wanted to touch on is Hibs didn't go for McCrorie because Rangers said we don't want him playing against us, and Aberdeen went, well, we'll loan him. And I've seen a lot of Hibs fans say, well done Hibs, Rangers trying to bend you over a barrel, didn't bend to their things, we should have went, we were right to walk away from the deal. To me, Aberdeen have got a great deal there. They've got him on loan, they don't have to pay for anything for 12 months, and they've got a player committed to them for the 4 years. He'll play for Scotland, and they'll sell him on for a profit. So that argument surely then ends up void when we sign Jamie Murphy on loan for a year. We're talking about signing him on a permanent deal a year after that. We're talking about a potential 2-year deal, first year loan, then a year permanent. So we've done the exact same thing as Aberdeen have done with McCrorie. So what's the difference? Why couldn't we do that for McCrorie?
It says us here in the car. It says it just completely nullified the fact that we've not got McCrorie now. Just beyond me. Like it basically says that Murphy's not as valuable an asset to us as
of course
McCrorie.
He's 31. McCrorie was been someone would have been selling on, but
yeah.
So that would make more sense to put your back out to get McCrorie in then.
Exactly.
The other way about.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to it, and I've seen a lot of Hibs fans have been like, oh, this is a good deal with the Murphy, and the same fans are probably saying, well done to Hibs for no bending it to Rangers, exactly what you're saying. But I think that's just folk just wanting to keep the positivity high within the club, and Hibs kind of done it wrong and all that, where Hibs have got to hold their hand up. They made an arse of the McCrorie thing. The Murphy thing, I still think it's fine, it's a good deal. we've got Murphy in. He finally won't play against Rangers, but I think he's a good player.
So Rangers we've got next.
No, St Mirren.
Right. Then Rangers.
Yes, and then Celtic.
We've got them back to back. So I mean, I think it's a bit of a frustrating one, and I can understand people trying to say we're right to what I was kind of understanding where people were coming from when they were saying about McCrorie. I was like, I don't care. I would have taken him on loan, or would have, even if it was a permanent one where he doesn't play for him. Yes, it's a stupid rule, but if we had just signed him permanently and he couldn't play against Rangers for 1 year, it'd be weird. But I'd go for it just because I think it's a player we needed. It's a player we could have bought for a decent amount and sold on. He'll play for Scotland. His value will go up. In a couple of years' time, they'll sell him for a couple of million, and folk will go, oh, Christ, we should have signed him. So it's just a bit frustrating to see folk go, oh, great with the Jamie Murphy deal, and we don't have to pay. We don't, his contract's up. They've been smart and stuff, and I'm like, I just don't understand how you can separate the two. So by all means, if I'm wrong, at HFC Talk, let me know how I'm wrong about this. But yeah,
by the time he leaves Aberdeen, though, Docherty will be back in Scotland and we can get him for free.
So I obviously Docherty is one that I don't know if we've touched on that. Obviously I wasn't on the podcast last week. Went to Hull permanently, so that's one that we can score out, so we can all get back on the Omyanga train right now, right?
Absolutely not.
But I'll go another way. Daryl Horgan leaving Hibs after good few years at Hibs. I never done the exact thing, but good few years at Hibs. Overall thoughts on Horgan's time at Hibs?
Quiet. That one game in it, really. A couple of flash moments. He can go, sadly, like maybe a nice guy and all that, but probably not good enough for what we need. And I said it last week on the podcast. I'd drop. I'd play Stevie Mallon at left before I'd play Horgan, because to me he just doesn't do enough.
Does this not remind you, like 10 years ago, did we not have another Irish winger that came with good pedigree and we thought, oh, he's got to be great?
That's harsh. That's harsh on Horgan. No, Horgan wasn't that bad.
No, that's what I mean. The Horgan.
Alan O'Brien, for those that didn't get that.
Yeah, he wasn't bad, and it was kind of one of them players. He could do something. So you always had that wee bit of hope, and he's a likeable guy, and just
his best spell was the Hecky 10 games unbeaten. He was brilliant in that spell. He was creating chances, he was scoring goals, he was getting assists. His crossing looked dangerous. He was cutting on his right foot. He was a bit unpredictable. His confidence was high, and that, like say, at any other times it was odd flashes. He never really put a run together. And yeah, Stephen, I mean, that you could probably say that he didn't really get his opportunities to get a run in the team. Yeah. Until this season.
Yeah, I would say so. I think he was only in the team because we were unsure of what we were actually playing and who we were playing with. Took advantage of it, I would say. I think he's done alright the first 3 games this season. Thought he got a couple of assists and stuff, so he's done alright. But yeah,
was he one of the ones that kind of?
There was always a feeling that he was going to go. I think that he would have been told at the start of the season, like, if you can get a move away, move away.
I mean, he was never going to be a wing back. He can't do enough defensively, so that kind of ruled him out of that position. So with the 3-5-2 becoming a bit more favourable, was that maybe the beginning of the end with him if he's not versatile to play? I know a couple of times we tried him in the number 10 position, didn't really work.
I think there was always a chance, like if we were really struggling, that we could have kept him and we could have tried forcing him to adapt, like we had done with Hallberg last season, try to get him to play defensive midfield when he's not a defensive midfielder, and he took it on board. I think Ross made it quite public at the start of the season that he was wanting players to take a bit more responsibility and show a bit more versatility and changing the positions about. Whether Ross never saw enough of Horgan doing that, or they've maybe got a good fee for Wickham for him.
In his last year's contract, I mean, Wickham, back in the Championship. Yeah. I kind of didn't realise that. I got corrected last night. I was like, surely it can be a big fee if it's Wickham, and somebody, well, they just got promoted to the Championship.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe a bit of money, but
yeah. So I think that I think they've done alright with it. I think it'll be a deal that works well parties. He's back in the Championship. He's wanting to play for Republic of Ireland again. Best chance for him to do that would be in the Championship England rather than the Premier League of Scotland. So yeah, I think it's a good move for both parties, to be honest. He's not done enough for me in the 2 years that he's been with us. So
agreed. I think he's one of those players that is going to do well down there. He'll do well at Wycombe. He'll do well back in the Championship, and we'll go, where was that player? Why did we not see him?
How did Alan O'Brien do when he left us?
Maybe it's just me, but I think there's a really good player there in Darrell Horgan. I think he's a confidence player. I think he maybe gets inside his head a bit, can overthink things a bit, but you're
not going to get any confidence playing in Scotland anyway. Like.
But a nice guy, and I think he's you don't play for Preston as many games as you did and for Republic of Ireland unless you're a decent player. I just don't think we ever saw it, apart from like say the Hearts game.
Remember who else played for Preston?
Have a good enough run.
Remember who else played for Preston as a winger that came to us? Brandon Barker. Like, he went down to Preston.
He did, after us.
Look at him
Mr.
now.
Nahia.
You can talk.
I Gav could actually probably grow my hair than Brandon Barker now.
No, I've tried.
I was just going to say he probably didn't have I got a long enough stretch where he wasn't in and out the team to get that confidence and show what he could do, but
you've got to earn the place on the team to get there though.
Yeah,
well, like I think like I say a formation change didn't help him. He limited his chances. Even Hecky played the 3-5-2 at times and stuff. So wish him all the best. Hopefully he can kind of kickstart his career again back down in England where he knows he's obviously done well at Preston and get back in the Republic of Ireland team. So it's been a while since we've done a phone in, but we thought we'd get back the phone in and giving more Hibs fans opportunities to come on and give their views, get more voices on the podcast. So we're going to try and start doing that once a month, the first week of every month. So we're going to start obviously with international breaks, a good opportunity to start it next week. So can we chat about whatever you want, whether it be Hibs start to the season, the performances, how negative Stephen is and how he needs to get more positive. If you want to have a go at him, that's fine. But yeah, so I thought next week we could start the getting that on a monthly basis. Or I thought, Dave, it was your idea.
Yeah, just on Zoom.
Aye.
So it'll be better than when it was phoning, because obviously
we can still do the phoning if someone doesn't have Zoom but they'd like to come on. We still have that functionality.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
You're the technical man. I didn't know that.
Yeah, still have that.
That's handy.
But yeah, Zoom's another good option as well. So we will be putting out a post asking folk to get in touch. But if you listen and go, you know what, I'd like to be on next week, probably next Monday we'll be recording. So just drop us a message at HFC Talk on Twitter, on Facebook, or on hibstalkpodcast@gmail.com. I think I remembered that. So yeah, get in touch if you want to be on the podcast next week. So to finish up today, we're going to play a quick game of Start, Bench, Sell. We're going to take 3 players from Hibernian and discuss them at their prime at Hibs and decide who we would start, who would sell, and who would bench. Not in that order, but you know what I mean. So the 3 players which I've got today for us to discuss and try and then we'll put this out to the socials as well, is Gary O'Connor, Christian Doidge, and Mixu Patalainen. So who you starting, who you benching, and who you selling?
You can go first.
So yeah, I'll give you some time to think about. So whilst you're thinking about, so what's your favourite memories of Gary O'Connor and a Hibs jersey?
Jesus, that's another thing to think about though. Now my brain's in overtime. I can't think about 2 things at once.
Stephen, can you think about 2 things at once? Favourite Gary O'Connor memory?
No.
Surely it's got to be the goal in the last minute against Hearts.
Yeah,
that was a highlight. To be fair,
what did you make of his second spell at Hibs? Obviously, barring the cup final.
You should have just stayed and stuck it out and just kept playing with Hibs until he couldn't play anymore rather than come back to Russia. Just again, whenever I see it, still had that touch and all that. It just was different, wasn't he?
He was good.
He was good.
Really good partnership with Griffiths.
Yeah, he was good. There's no part of me saying he wasn't good. I just wish he had stayed and it worked out different, and he just screwed the nut then, rather than going back. But
yeah, another one on this is Mixu. What's your guys' thoughts on Mixu as a manager? Is it, like I say, I might be thinking back tinted glasses, but am I right in saying the results maybe weren't there, but the football was there? Some good football at times, or am I thinking back wrongly? Am I putting green tinted glasses back on Mixu's spell as a manager?
Nah, I liked Mixu as a player and manager. I did. I thought we went through a wee spell of managers being, in my opinion, unfairly treated.
Yeah,
was
he was
Mixu, Yogi, They all seem to have got a bit of a hard time for finishing 6th.
Yeah. Especially, like say, Yogi, when he finished 5th after they sold Stokes and replaced them with Alan Gow and Tracus.
Yeah.
Like, aye.
Was John Collins?
No,
on that
not
list?
Gow, but you know what I mean.
John Collins was kind of a wee bit of a different situation. They
Very
just
much
fell
so.
out with everybody.
It depends on whose side of the story you listen to for that, but I could get into that. But yes, Mixu's a player though, fantastic player.
Absolutely brilliant. Like,
Still can't believe his celebration defied physics. Yeah, big boy and flipped through there like that. Oofed.
And
him and Effie should do a flip off. There you go. That would do well on Sky.
Better than any the current coverage we're getting from Sky for Scottish football. And then, like I say, finally Doidge, obviously in more recent memory. Obviously, great return last season, especially that middle spell. Started quite slow and then the season finished early, but that middle spell, those 18 goals, and when you think about how long it took him to get going, that is a great return in that last season. So, Dave, have you got a decision? Who are you starting out the 3?
Am I starting them in this team or the team that they were in?
This team, why not?
Right, well, if it's this team, then I would start O'Connor.
Okay.
Because I think he would play up front better than with alone, like that the other night, Aberdeen playing. I thought it was something at my door, sorry.
That's fine.
It's not very good. I'll keep talking anyway. Oh, flapping. Where were we?
O'Connor is a lone striker you're talking about.
O'Connor's, aye. So I think start O'Connor, I'd probably sell Doidge and bench Mixu. I'm sorry, he's no Doidge's class and I like him effort and that, but he's not got that status yet.
Early doors. Stephen?
I would actually start Mixu in the current lineup. I think he would offer quite a lot more, and he was one of the players, and I've said this before, with strikers that can create a chance out of nothing for themselves. He was definitely one of the types of players. So when you're not relying on Alan to play a through ball to run on to, I think if Mixu picked it up 25-30 yards out the box, we would score. Like, he just gave us that belief.
The thing I've loved about Mixu was the way he controlled the ball. He would, like, the ball would come up and he'd almost like, I obviously can't, I'm trying to do it here, but obviously we're on a podcast, but he'd kind of go like a 45-degree angle backwards and just sort of like consume it in his chest and bring it down.
It was in the mould of like Bearcamp and Overmars and players like that used to just pick it out of the sky and
great
be able to
touching
turn around. So I'd start Mixu. That's a bit of a toss up with the other two because I've not exactly been Doidge's biggest fan.
18 goals last season, you can't.
But that's it.
And
one season. It was like.
But he's already scored twice this season.
Yeah, twice in 6
games.
He's only been here one season too, so you can't really.
Well, that's it, exactly. So I don't think there's been enough.
And he scored 2 goals this season in a team that we've already said is not creating chances.
Yeah, but I would still bench O'Connor before I benched Doidge. I would sell Doidge. I think he's more expendable now because we've only had him for one season.
Maybe
plus his market value will be a bit higher now.
If this segment sticks around, maybe come back to it in a few years' time and see if the answer's changed.
It's more if the podcast sticks around that long.
I know.
Well,
Gav
made it
just
3
has
years.
weeks off when he wants and that now.
He's already gone on holidays and that.
He's getting too big time. He's forgot his bread and butter.
Just imagine he had a couple of weeks off. We'd be fucked.
No, and the last week's show was banging, mate. You see the numbers for it? Better than, in fact, you weren't on it either. That's probably why it was so good.
Gav, you want us to do a standalone one?
I think there's enough Hibs podcasts out there. We don't need to start
2 guys in Hibs up the slope.
Right, well, we'll finish. So
Put that out to folk though.
I've already got the graphic made up.
Ahead of the game.
I've got the graphic made up, so I'm going to put this out. So we'll ask you guys who out of Doidge, O'Connor, and Mixu, who you'd start, who you'd bench, and who you'd sell. So let us know. Keep an eye out for the graphic, or just let us know at HFC Talk. So we'll finish up there, folks. You looking forward to the international break? You looking forward to the Scotland games?
Nope.
Much more now that McCronie's not in the squad.
I can't be bored with international football now.
I'm the same. I don't know why. I'm just like, it was in the group chat last night. Somebody referred to Scotland as we, and I was like, oh, I guess. Aye. I just feel really disconnected from the Scotland team.
Yep. So there, I watch them and I'll be like, yay when we score and that, but I'll not
Nothing
be.
compared to
I'll
celebrating
not be
Hibs
like,
goal.
oh man, but see how crap I was last night because Hibs got beat of Aberdeen. Honestly, I was watching telly and I was like, I can't be bothered watching this. I can't be bothered doing anything. I felt like I needed to be in a bad mood the rest of that night, or I was doing something wrong. Whereas the Scotland game, I'll switch it off at the end if we get beat and be like, oh well.
Stephen,
well, clean sheet for Marciano.
You're a lot more sort of invested in the Scotland game, the Scotland team. I know you got a lot more of the games and stuff.
Yeah,
How
but
are you looking forward to these games?
it's just another international now, eh?
I think he's more invested into the Scotland games than that because you get a wee trip and you get to have a piss up.
I do love that.
Yeah,
like,
I don't think it's anything to do with the football. That
And now that that's been taken away, you're like, meh.
he's the same as the rest
I
of
know.
us.
To be fair though, like I paid £25 for my Hibs cardboard cutout, and Scotland are charging £24, £17 if you're got an SSC membership. Yeah, so £17 for a cardboard cutout at Hampden, and then it goes after the first game.
Do you get to keep it?
No.
So like the Hibs one, you don't get to keep it.
You literally pay £17 to have your face at one game.
That's strange.
I would advise anybody not to do it.
100%.
It's not worth it.
No.
It's not.
I'm paid £25, but it's going to be out of the games and that. But I've still not seen my cardboard cut on the telly.
We're not like Stuart, who's sitting in front of the kangaroo and is getting all the camera time.
Yeah,
Okay.
Stuart Wilson, apps, jammy. Not that I want to be in my cardboard cut in the telly every week, but it'd be nice to see it once.
I'm just going to put it on my back window in my car when it
Yeah.
when it comes back to it.
And if we weren't getting to keep it, I'd be like, rip off. But we're getting to keep it, so I think £25 short for what it is value for Hibs. But I think
it still would have been better though to get it for free, considering we never took a refund for our season ticket.
Nah, Hibs still got to make. I don't mind Hibs making more money. Aye, more money.
Yeah.
I still think it would have been courtesy, like.
I mean, maybe potentially you could have got more cutouts that way, because like say you could have potentially filled it out while the folk that didn't, but that still would have cost a lot of money.
Or buy a season ticket, get a free cardboard cut.
Yep.
Nah, maybe if this thing's still here next year, they might do something like that. But aye, looking at the Scotland, I mean, can I be honest with the Scotland games? What are we playing for? Is it just a friendly,
No,
or because I know we're playing Israel twice,
The game
and there's the League of Nations,
the
or
game
is this
against Israel is the playoff to go into Euro 2020.
so? What happens if we
So
win?
if we win
Euro?
that, then we play.
If we win the Euros, then
If we
it's
win
a
the
fucking
Euros, then we're
miracle.
fucking legends.
No, so why are we playing Israel again? The Nations
So
League.
the
Can we get in the
Nations
Euros?
League's playoff.
Can we get in the Euros through that, or is that
Yes. So that's what this game coming is, right? So
Wait, what?
right, so we're already out of the Euro 2020 the Euro 2020 group stage. We're out of that.
Right.
So there was the Nation League,
Mhm.
right? So Israel, we're playing in the Nations League,
Right.
and if we beat them, then we play either Norway or Slovakia, which means that we could play against Haaland if we
Mhm.
beat them, and then the winner of that goes to the Euros.
Right.
But
So why are we playing Israel again after that?
because they've already started next year's Nations League.
Right. Okay.
It's fucking it's
So
ridiculous.
what's that qualifying for? The World Cup?
It's a playoff fixture thing for the World Cup.
Right. Okay.
It's the Nations League thing's completely pointless.
I
It's just
like
competitive
it.
friendlies.
Yeah, it is. It's just that's literally what it is.
I didn't mind the whole friendlies and then the group stages. It was simple.
But,
This is I don't know. It's complicated, and I think it's because I have to pay attention to how it works and what each thing ties into. I've stopped. I've just went.
Yeah.
Scotland are playing. Okay. I just a bit disassociated.
The way I see it, we've got a game against Israel, which is good because at least we'll get to see Rocky.
Yeah.
And I'll maybe get to see a wee clip of Shelley somewhere celebrating on Twitter. So we've got that, and then if we play Norway, you get to see Haaland, who we've already seen.
So there's something like either like things are changing, but was there no like something to do with Norway or Slovenia might not be able to participate? It might be
Because of the COVID rules.
yeah, they might not be. Is that
Yeah.
have they fixed that?
I really don't know. I've not looked into it that much because I'm not that bothered. But I know that I've put a pen down. I know that I've got tickets for the group that Scotland are in because we're in England's group for the Euros if we qualify.
Surely international football's got to be one of the last things to return, like in terms of fans.
No, my tickets are standing. I never took my refund, so I'll be going to the fucking games if I'm the only person in the stadium.
Well, enjoy the Scotland games. Like I say, we'll do a phone in.
I'm not even watching the game on Friday.
You're not?
No.
Why not?
Because I've got the parents and I would rather spend time with them than watch
Aww.
I know, thanks.
Who knew he wasn't a dick all the time?
All the time, just 95%.
I didn't know that.
No, did not know that.
Yeah.
This is a surprise.
That was nice.
Aye.
Thanks.
So enjoy the Scotland games, and like I say, get in touch with us if you want to be on the phone in next week. We'll chat about Hibs' start to the season, how we've been playing, anything else you want to bring up, the fact that Stephen's a dick, and we'll be back after that to then sort of look ahead to St Mirren, and like I say, then obviously back to back Old Firm games, and getting on with the rest of the season. So enjoy the week's break from Hibs, and we'll speak to you next week. Cheers.